Welcome everybody to another episode of the Kick and Make Up Show 2014, January 9th. First episode of the new year.
Right. Feels awesome. 2014 made it.
Yes. For all of you that don't know, I'm your host, the American Hybrid, Nick Cunningham. With me, as always, Jeremy J.D. Dorsey.
What's up?
Like we said, kicking off the new year. And, man, we've got a ton to talk about. And I always say that, but we literally do today have a ton to talk about.
Yeah, lots of big things to discuss today. So
yes.
It's fun. Whenever you get to do a year in review sort of show, it's fun. And then we're doing some other current stuff too, so
right.
It's good.
So he just gave it away. That's what we're doing today. We're going to sum up 2013. If you guys are MMA fans, you've seen that everybody's doing that, and so we're just gonna follow along like little minions of the MMA world. Wrap up our 2013 and kind of give you a little preview of what we think's gonna happen in 2014, who we think's gonna be big. And just kind of go from there. I like the format because we kind of did this as like a game. Like we did this separately of our high kick of the year, our low kick of the year, and that's some bull kick of the year. And we're gonna see what we matched on and what we disagreed on and all that good stuff. So before we get into all that, let me get the formalities out of the way. This is the Kick and Make Up Show. www.kickandmakeup is where you can go to check out all of our archived past episodes, my articles from Ola America, pictures from our coverage of live events, just everything we've done in 2014 and 2013. So you can go there at kickandmakeup.com. Go to the Facebook page, click in or type in Kick and Make Up. No, obviously I blanked out. Type in Kick and Make Up and invite yourself into the group. We let you right in, and man, that page has been going.
Yeah, it has. We had a lot of activity, a lot of people coming to join the group, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so go keep that up, and let's get that let's get those numbers high in 2014. Also, Twitter, which we've been having a little bit of fun with lately.
Yes.
It's kind of nice getting some good dialogue going. With people we won't name drop yet. We're not name droppers, but if you're on our Twitter accounts or you watch us, you know what we're talking about. At Kick and Make Up is Jeremy's, and at Hybrid MMA is mine. So definitely get us there, and we can be a little bit more frank and blunt there than we have to be on Facebook or even on the show. So
yeah, and the cool part about Twitter is you kind of put things out there, and especially with MMA. You kind of get surprised sometime by the responses, but like, man, you send out a random tweet to people, and odds are they're reading them, and that's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Even when you go up the higher in the ranks of MMA and superstars, they're actually reading. So it's cool because you can send out so many things to other celebrities, and there's no chance in hell that any of them would ever respond to you. But MMA fighters are really accessible, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, I agree. So get on Twitter. Like I said, at Hybrid MMA is mine. At Kick and Make Up is Jeremy's.
And we're accessible. You can talk to us.
We
respond quickly.
We do. I get excited when I look at my phone and see the little notification, and that might just show how we're not new to Twitter, but I'm still very excited to see it. I'm sure everybody else had, when their notification, it says like 500.
Right.
And I'm like, ooh, 2. And I click on it. So very excited still. So let's get up to 500. Let me see 500 on my phone. You'd like to see 500 on your phone?
I really would.
So before we get into, like we said, our 2013 high kicks and low kicks, I want to just talk a little bit about the UFC Fight Pass. I have to do that.
Okay.
Just real quick, that's the big talk of 14 already, is this UFC Fight Pass, UFC's Netflix of MMA, where you pay $9.99 and you get most of the fights, which when I break it down, the pros and cons, that's a con already, that all the fights aren't available yet. And all the events are not available. Like, I still don't think Silva Weidman, it may just be up, but it wasn't available immediately after the fight. But the GSP Hendricks one was. So I just I got Fight Pass. I'm not sure if you got it yet.
I didn't get it yet, no.
Right. And so that's about the way of it, even with the podcasts I've listened to and the shows I've seen, and half the people have got it, half the people haven't yet. So I just wanted to say that so far I'm pretty happy with it. For $10 a month, and the first 2 months are free. So in March, I'll be charged my first $10. I've spent $10 on worse throughout the month. So we'll just leave it at that. I don't know. You guys take it where you want. But I've definitely spent $10 on worse things every month, so that's not bad. The first main event, the Singapore card, was the big card they were talking about. I had no idea really who anybody else was on the card but the main event. I kind of flew through the regular card. The main event was awesome. Tarek Seferdine versus was it Lim, but I'm trying to get his full name. Gyo Lung Lim, or Hyun Gyo Lim, I believe. Okay. There it is. Okay. Sure. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Yeah,
Lim.
Got it. Lim. You know, that's my agent kicking out like I will get his name right. Anyway, awesome main event. So if you guys are still on the fence, I don't know if I'd say like that. Well, that main event was worth $10 to me. So I feel like already I've gotten my month's $10 worth, and I don't know. That's how I'm looking at it. Like $10 a month, you're gonna get an event. And I feel like if you have 1 or 2 fights, that's about worth it. I don't know. It was accessible on my computer, which is another con thing. You can't watch it on TV. You have to watch it through the internet. I have Google TV, and I haven't yet tried it just to see, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get it on Google TV because that's the internet. Right. But you can't get it on like Roku and all the other stuff like that.
And it sucks for some of the people. Like I know I from time to time use the Xbox, you know, my Xbox 360, and I use the UFC app on there, and I can get certain things through that. So I don't know if they have integrated that into it yet, but it would be awesome if you could sort of have all those things together in one, so that you can, you know, avoid going everywhere. And my only concern, and you know, I don't know if they're going to do this at all, but I would like for them to you know, upload the pay-per-views, you know, at least. I would say within a day or two would be pretty awesome to be able to go back and sort of review it. I don't think that, you know, they'll never do something so that it'll be like up hours within the show, because people would probably just wait and not do it. But if you know, maybe 2, you know, maybe 3 days after the event and be able to have it, I think that's enough time that'll pass, people will, you know, still buy the pay-per-view, but it would be nice to go back and review and you know, check out these fights again that you know, you might not have been paying as much attention to in the heat of the moment when, you know, you got a fight party going on, or you know, you're just not able to watch it at that time.
Right. Yeah, so that's the main thing too. Like, it's like I said, the Silva Weidman's not there yet. It wasn't there a couple days ago, so unless it's there now, that's the big thing. And I think that's an awesome idea too, to put them up on the Monday. People still buy it that Sunday, so that would be fair. We're gonna see what happens with it, and we'll get back to you and let you know what's going on. But this is just the beginning of it. So obviously they're gonna work out the kinks, and I believe like by the summer, it'll be a completely different format. Dana White listens to the fans for the most part, and does not like a million complaints about something that he's got his name behind. So I have to believe that if there's a lot of negative things going on, he will go in and adjust some things to the best of his ability. So we'll keep you guys up to date. Just had to get the Fight Pass out there. We're gonna go right into our high kick of the year. My high kick of the year was the rise of Robbie Lawler. You guys know Robbie Lawler's been around for a long time. He went undefeated 3-0 in 2013. First round knockout over Koscheck in February, a second round knockout over Bobby Volker in July, and a split decision win versus Rory McDonald in November, which put him right ahead of the pack to do the welterweight title. GSP went out and retired, and so that left him open for the vacant welterweight title in March. That's a lot. That's a huge year. You go from like having your first fight back in the UFC to, and 1 year later, you're fighting for the title. I can't see anything else bigger than that in 2013. Go.
Would you like me to comment on yours, or would you like me to say mine?
I don't know.
I totally agree with yours.
All right.
I'll start with that.
All right.
I think, just like I said, we were kind of walking into the studio earlier today, and I got a chance to sneak a glimpse at his list of
I left that out before when I said we didn't know. I really knew he cheated. Let's just say, call it what it is. It's cool. It was a glance. It wasn't a hard read.
I didn't study, but cool. No, I looked at it and I kind of laugh at some of the similarities that we have. So I totally agree with Robbie Lawler being there for you. I think that he's going to fit in on a different part of the list for me. But yeah, I was really impressed with what he was able to put together this year. And he's always been someone who sort of has been an underachiever and had all that talent, but was never able to put it together. And I think that he really did put it together in 2013. So my high kick of 2013, it's more of a joint high kick, I would say. Not as in smoke joint, but there's multiple people involved. But it just goes to women's MMA. I think 2013 was the year for women's MMA, and it was capped off with Rousey Tate at the last UFC show, at the year-end show, and it's just been a huge year. I've been probably more entertained by women's MMA this year due to the Ultimate Fighter and some of the other stuff. You know, a lot of the other fights have been really good too. Yeah. I think when the one thing that you can say about women's MMA is that it's so small right now that you're getting the best of the best. Like the people that you see on TV, whether it's UFC, whether it's Invicta, those are the best of the best because there aren't as many women fighters. Whereas you have, you know, men's MMA, and you got so many different leagues and fighters that, you know, it's sort of watered down to some degree outside of the UFC. So it's really cool to see how much has grown. And, you know, coming from somebody who was a skeptic, I definitely was a skeptic initially, and I didn't want to believe that it was going to be as big, as profitable, as entertaining as it is. But, you know, you just start looking at the names, and I just, you know, start writing them down on top of my head. You got Rousey, Carmouche, Tate, you got Cyborg, you know, Cohen's and Zingano,
you've got the Invicta, the whole Invicta crew, which Invicta blew up this year.
Right.
I ordered every Invicta on pay-per-view and
enjoyed.
Wasn't even able to watch it that night. I don't know the times where I've ordered a pay-per-view and DVR'd it to watch later, and you couldn't beat the price at $15 for like 5 hours of fights. And so that's an awesome one for the high kick of the year for women's MMA. And like the turnaround with Rousey 2-14, she fights again in like 7 weeks versus Sarah McMahon, Olympian versus Olympian. They're saying like, you know, this is like the biggest fight for Rousey that's going to be promoted the least because it's not a Tate, it's not a first women's MMA title fight, but it's like her most competitive fight that maybe nobody knows about. Because Sarah McMahon, I mean, you don't silver medalist in wrestling in the Olympics. So nice, man.
But
well done.
And then you know you have the Invicta fighters coming over to UFC from the strawweight division. So you know, women's MMA is just getting a huge promotion and push. So I'm really happy to see that. And like I said, coming from somebody who was skeptical about it, I wasn't really a proponent of it, but man, has it blown up, and it's so it's just a different level of entertainment, I would say.
I don't think anybody, after seeing like the Juliana Pena fight on Tough, I don't think anybody can see, and I'm drawing a blank, was it Raquel? Raquel, I forgot her last name, that just went and banged it out.
I don't.
There was like a Jessamine Duke on the show. I mean, there were some fighters on that show like that would beat the living piss out of a lot of males that I know.
And then too, sorry to interrupt, but
no, it's good, man. It's all right.
Those women have been fighting for years, and it's just like they're finally getting their chance. It's not like it's not like the guys' Ultimate Fighter, so to speak, when you have, you know, guys who are 2-0 and, you know, just haven't really been able to, you know, they're still relatively new to the sport. These women are vets, like, you know.
Like that Roxanne Modafferi, she was a vet, and she got beat by a younger class of girl or woman, which just shows like tough.
And you feel like you want to say that they're all new. They're new to the stage, but they're not new at all. They've been fighting for years. And just to hear, like right after Roxanne lost, and her opponent was saying how she looked up to her, and she's been following her for years. Like, it's amazing because it's just now on the radar for us, but they've been out there for years.
Right.
And I'm just happy to see that they're getting the push that they deserve, and they've totally won me over. So
Yes.
definitely, I think the high kick of the year goes to women's MMA.
And Sarah McMahon, good luck in your fight.
Yeah, I'm
7 weeks from now. Let's
excited about
pull them
that.
for you.
Yeah.
Still like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh well.
Anyway, we won't go on the Ronda Rousey rant right now. But big year for Robbie Lawler, big year for women's MMA.
Yes.
Even bigger year in 14 for both.
Yes.
So nice way to start off.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our low kick of the year. You want to kick off your low kick of the
Sure.
year first? All right.
My low kick of the year goes to any and everything involving Hendricks and GSP.
Wow.
Any and
I like
everything.
that. I like
just everything that surrounded that fight, all the build up to the fight, the aftermath of the fight, just everything about that fight despised me after the fact. And it was just, I mean,
You didn't like These Are the Days of Our Fists? I
No.
like that. I just did that right now. Like
No.
MMA soap opera.
I like
These
that.
are the days of our fists.
dude, let's copyright that. That's going to be our show. When we produce our show, our real TV show. It's gonna
It's
be.
how it felt, though. It's how it felt, like
Yeah,
a
it was-
damn soap opera.
It was never ending. It was, just okay. When you first break down everything that happened in the actual fight, you get so disappointed by seeing Hendricks, who obviously won that fight, to just about everybody who watched it.
Yes.
And then to see everything that happened immediately afterwards with GSP, randomly talking about weird stuff and in broken English discussing how he wasn't necessarily gonna continue fighting, or was he gonna vacate his title, or was he retiring? What was going on? Then you had Dana showing outrage during the post-fight press conference, and then you had a day later, reports coming out about GSP's dead, possibly
TMZ,
being sick,
With
and
all of them sitting around their office talking about GSP.
Yeah, I hate TMZ, but it's sad that. Okay, random rant real quick. TMZ used to be horrible, and everybody hated TMZ. But now TMZ is like the most reliable source of anything entertainment news.
Yeah, the most reliable paparazzi source.
By far.
This is like
they're you can bank on TMZ now. When they come out with something, you can darn near bank on it. But just hearing all the stuff with possibly having a child, and like it was just such a waste.
It continued on though.
Yes.
I'm just saying, it continued on because the end saga was that they took his belt while he was in the shower. Like, that's the new story. They snuck in
like
to GSP's hotel
stealth
room
style
while he was showering to take his belt away. Like, that's a soap opera episode. Like, and then where GSP comes out of the shower and his belt's gone, and then he just looks at the camera, and then the camera pans to somebody else, and then back to GSP. That's the scene.
Yes.
And These Are the Days of Our Fists.
Yes.
Like, man, yeah, I agree with you, man. That is to continue this conversation on. That's half of my low kick of the year for 2013. The fall of St. Pierre, George St. Pierre, and Anderson Silva, because these are the biggest names in the sport for the last 10 years by far. And this was not their year. Like, this was a terrible. And when I say my low kick, I mean, it doesn't have to be like a negative rant all the time. It was just a low moment for MMA in general. GSP fighting twice in 2013. He beat Diaz in March, and he beat Hendricks. He did not beat Hendricks, but on the paper he beat Hendricks. The GSP, I don't know. The last time GSP got a decisive win that was not a decision was 2009 versus Penn at UFC 94. 94. I didn't say 194. I said 94. I just wanted to make that fact known. So every single fight after that was a grind-out decision, a boring decision win. man, and I was pulling for Diaz in that fight too. Like, just please, can somebody take the belt from GSP? Because yes, he's great. That's awesome. Let's get a new champion. For Silva, he fought twice in 2013, and he lost both times, and he lost decisively and devastatingly in his last fight. Broke his leg, and he's probably done. Which I said he should, if he heals up, open your own gym, be a coach. Who's not going to the Team Spider like gym? Seriously, like, that's awesome. But anyway, yeah, like, back to GSP, like, what, man? I mean, I don't even know. Like, and he's not officially even retired. He's taking some time off. Like, what are you gonna come back? You're gonna come back, and then we gotta do that whole song and dance. Like, I think it's time for, like, GSP and Silva to go with Liddell, go with Couture, go with Hughes, get a job in the UFC. Right. They'll make up a job and do something else. Like,
right, and just sort of fade off into the sunset.
Yes.
There comes that certain point in time where that needs to happen, and I think that, both of those guys are at that point. That's a really good one for low kick of the year for you too. It's just you get so bogged down with all the the drama, the expectations, and then to especially with Silva, and that was one of those fights where I was expecting big things from him, and the way that fight was trending, it was going to be Weidman winning anyway. So
there was a small window of time where he threw some kicks, and I'm like, he could chop Weidman down if he just keeps throwing kicks.
Right.
But that was Weidman's whole thing with his camp, that they wanted to check the kicks, and I know that they said it's kind of something you don't want to talk about, but breaking his leg was their game plan, and it is what it is. Whatever, you check kicks that are coming, and they're coming that hard and swift from Silva, they might break. So nobody wants to talk about that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, strategy is strategy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to break someone's leg, but if you kick something hard repeatedly, your odds increase that you're going to break something.
Yes.
So it's smart. It's smart, and you can't really knock him for that. But just a disappointing year for both of those guys, and especially with the sort of rising stars that you see with both of them, with Weidman and with Hendricks, that it's just sort of, it sucks for both of them that they aren't going to get what they're, I don't know, they aren't going to get what they deserve. Because, in the case of Hendricks, he should have won. He should have had his belt. In the case of Weidman, he isn't going to get the respect that he deserves because both of those situations, both of those fights ended in weird fashion.
Yep.
So, it just sucks for both of those guys, and it definitely sucks for GSP and Silva.
And that's the silver lining with the fall of GSP and Silva, is that we get to see some new welterweights and some new middleweights come up, and a little bit of changing of the fight odds, not odds, but just people. I mean, we get to see different people
Changing
fight.
the guard.
Changing the guard. So we'll take that for 2014. Oh, man. That's some BullKick. Favorite segment that we do, and I am super excited for my BullKick of the year. So I'm just going to kick it off.
Go ahead.
Mine goes to Vitor Belfort. Let me get his name right. And all his wins this year, all of them. All of his wins and everything about him and him. And I'm done. No, I'm just kidding.
Him and it.
He and his partner, because he has a partner.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who his partner's name is?
A three-letter partner.
TRT. Testosterone is his partner. And his therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, which he is on, and everybody's okay with. So, awesome. Yes, they went 3-0 this year, beating.
I love that.
They did. They went 3-0 this year. Him and TRT, beating Michael Bisping, Luke Rockhold, and Dan Henderson, all in devastating fashion, spinning heel kicks, knocking out, first round knockouts, and for their efforts, excuse me. They get a middleweight title shot versus Chris Weidman coming up this summer, probably in July for the July 4th card. Awesome to say that it is not going to be in Brazil because all of Vitor's last fights have been in Brazil. This one is going to be in Vegas, so that's awesome. But Vegas is still going to give him an exempt. I just want to make everybody know that when you are on steroids, like Vitor Belfort was on steroids, admits up to it. That messes up your testosterone levels. So if your testosterone levels are low, you take TRT to help get them back to normal. You did that to yourself, So now he's getting rewarded for taking something to fix something that he did to himself before. And he might be our champion in July.
Yep.
I hope he's not our champion, because that's going to send a very bad message that everybody's fine with somebody that is pretty much still on like a legalized steroid, which is TRT. It is kind of and not really, but it's close.
It is. It's enough of an
my
edge for someone to take it that it's worth it to take it.
Yeah. And his quotes are like, "Oh man, I'm training so well, and thank you God for giving me this God-given talent." Nope, it's not God that gave you the God-given talent. It's the syringe that you put in your ass for the TRT. That's what did it. But he's a good fighter.
He
but
is.
He has an extra edge right now that I can't reward. I can't be happy about it.
Even if it's a minute percentage that TRT provides him, and I don't think it's minute, but even if it is, it's still an edge that other fighters don't have.
Right.
And I don't appreciate the UFC for not addressing it the way that they should. It's sort of just the secret that nobody really wants to talk about, but everybody talks about. Like,
yeah,
everybody knows about it, but nobody really, really, really wants to address it or make it, or put it in its place where it needs to be. So,
I think if Weidman can beat him in July, that'll put a lot of stop to the talk. Because right now he's just steamrolling people,
right.
And it's not fun to watch because he's got that edge. So that's my BullKick for 2013.
Can we get a slight drum roll for my BullKick?
Yeah, of course.
My BullKick goes to TRT/Roy.
Come on, man. That's nice, man. Well done. See, I knew this game was gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, and like we said before, we did not discuss what we were gonna pick for these year.
We can continue on to 2014.
Yeah,
let's keep going.
I agree.
That's nice, man. I like how you
seals
did
it, but TRT roids, and I just more names off the top of my head. You got Sonnen, Belfort, Tavares, Rothwell, Mir, Henderson.
Right. Rothwell, his win got taken away, or got looked at, adjusted.
Yep.
I don't know if did it get taken away?
No,
but he's on suspension, right?
Right, and it just cast this ugly blanket over what is a unbelievably great sport, and I just hate seeing that. I hate seeing that it's allowed. I hate seeing people try to convince me that it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't like for anyone to try to tell me that cheating is okay. And it's one thing. Okay, we're seeing right now the effects of this, and we're recording this today, which is January 9th, and just yesterday we had a bunch of guys inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it's a constant struggle in baseball for people to come to grips with whether the guys who use steroids during that time should be allowed to be in the Hall of Fame. We're at the point with the UFC where we're entering that phase, where when you have somebody like Belfort, if he wins a title and he ends up becoming, one of the greats of the sport because he's had a long reign and he's had, 14 title defenses from here on out, or, something crazy where you're going to consider him one of the greats. I don't want to have that debate whether it should be okay or not okay because he was using TRT or he used steroids in the past. Like, it's such an issue that doesn't need to be there, and the UFC is at a point right now where they can kill it. They can destroy it before you even get to that point, but they're not doing that, and that is total bullshit.
And they won't. That is, and they won't. There won't be that debate because he will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame because they're allowing it now.
Right.
So, like you said, if they don't stop it now, then we're just going to see TRT blow up. It's the loophole. It's a loophole with the sport. And I'm a supplement guy too. I like the extra little edge, but I'm not a professional fighter.
Right.
I'm not, and I know also like when you have to also. I understand you have to also work with supplements. Like you just can't take TRT and go into the cage and think you're gonna win.
Right.
You have to train too, but it does give you can't. His quotes were more of what bothered me, and Dana too. Some of his quotes, like, "Oh God, Vitor Belfort's just a beast." It's like he's steamrolling people. Then also say, but it's also because he's on. They're never gonna say that. He never will say, but it's also because he's on TRT. That would help me out a little bit and not have him be rewarded for like it's his
Right.
own efforts.
Right.
So unless they talk about it more in 2014, I think this is the thing that's not going to go away. More people are going to get on it, and it's everybody. Then does everybody going to be on TRT within 2 years, 3 years?
And it turns right into
Ugh, that'll be bad.
And it turns into exactly what happened with baseball. And you have the steroid era in baseball, and you're going to have the TRT era in UFC. And it just it's so disappointing because the sport is doing exactly what you would want it to do for all those people who have been fans forever to see it finally get to where it's, you know, I would say mainstream or right on the cusp of mainstream. And just to see it marred with this is really disappointing. And the acceptance from everyone from Dana White on down is even more disappointing. So,
Nice.
definitely BullKick of the year. TRT.
Wow, we agree on the BullKick, man. We usually do agree on one topic, so that'll be our agreeing. The prospects. Now let's go to close out the show with our best prospects of 2014. I'm also very excited for this one.
I kind of didn't do prospects. I kind of did two people that I
That's all right.
have
That's good.
that I would tell everybody would probably have the biggest and greatest year in 2014.
Kick it off.
That's my guess.
Kick it off then.
And yeah, kind of, sort of alluded to this earlier, but Robbie Lawler is one of my people. We already discussed the year that he had, and I just see him continuing to rise to that, you know, that level where he's either champ or he's the, you know, number one contender.
Yep.
And just to see the change in his personality and to see how much more of a humble person he at least appears to be, and that has in turn helped him be better at the sport. And you know, it's really cool to see something like that and see someone who comes along and has been through the ups and downs and finally are, you know, reaching and living up to the potential that they had for so long. So yeah, I think he's going to have a big year. Him and Hendricks fighting would be one of those dream fights that you sort of, you know, that I'm sure that if things continue the way they're going, we're going to get it.
We're going to get Rock'em Sock'em.
Yes, Rock'em Sock'em fight.
Yes.
It's
been a while since you've seen one of those.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nasty Rock'em Sock'em potentially.
Yeah, and one of those fights where you wouldn't know going in who's going to win that, because either way, it's going to be over probably relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 rounds, but you know,
early second round. I'm saying something like that.
But I mean, it could go either way,
Ugh.
and it'd be a great fight to see. But my second guy in person to watch for 2014 is Uriah Faber, and another guy who's, you know, sort of always been on the edge and just has never quite got to the pinnacle of the sport, and I think this is the year where it happens for him.
February 1st.
Yeah, I was gonna say he picked up that fight, stepped in on short notice, and you know, you can't help but like somebody like that.
Yeah.
He's a gamer. I mean, you know, especially coming off of his last fight where he demolished his opponent, and
I picked against him too.
Yeah. And just to see him come along and say, okay, well, yeah, I'll do it. You know, I'm still in shape, so it's cool to see something like that too. And I really think that he's going to have a big year, and it's going to start in February for him. So, he would be my second person to watch for 2014.
Nice, man. I gave some new faces just to get to wet everybody's whistles of some new guys coming out this year. My first one goes to Brandon Thatch. He's a guy I've talked to you about a little bit. 11-1 welterweight. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He's got wins over Justin Edwards, first round knockout over Edwards. He's fought Paulo Thiago, first round submission. He's on a 10-fight win streak. 8 of his wins are by knockout, 3 are by submissions. 6 of his knockouts are less than a minute. All of his wins come in the first round. If that doesn't get you excited for a fighter, he's just nasty. He goes out. He's got a very marketable face too, and style about him. So he's one of those that you could see doing some damage in the welterweight. And like I said, with the welterweight floodgates being open, he's one that I could see if he continues this streak by the end of the year, be on a bigger card, on one of the main cards. So Brandon Thatch is a face to look out for. And why I say that by the end of the year he could be on a big card, Abel Trujillo is my second pick of who I've been talking about all year. He is on the main card already. So he was the guy that beginning of last year I was saying, watch out for this guy. He's nasty. He's 2-1 in the UFC, 1 no contest. He's going to be on the 169 Faber and Barral card. He's kicking off the pay-per-view portion of it versus Jamie Varner. Awesome. Fresh off his win over Roger Bowling, his debut fight in the UFC, he won by disgusting, devastating knees up against the cage of his opponent. He like catapults himself into his opponent. He's 155 pounds, which is why I will never fight again, because he's in my weight class and he looks like a monster. He's just somebody that is very marketable too. And I feel like these fighters are getting more violent. Like, we're seeing some really huge, crazy endings to these fights. There's no these 5-round or 3-round grind and pitter-patter fights. Abel Trujillo and Brandon Thatcher aren't having anything of it. So those are two of the fighters I'm excited to see. And the last one's kind of a guy that I just enjoy watching fight just because of his sambo and his suplexes and tosses. Khabib Nurmagomedov. I knew I was going to kind of... Nurmagomedov. Russian guy. He's 21-0, so he's never lost. He's 5-0 in the UFC. He went 3-0 in 2013. He fought in January, May, and September, which is awesome. 3 times in 1 year, versus some big names: Gleison Tibau, Thiago Tavares, and Abel Trujillo. So he beat somebody else on the list, and he also beat Pat Healy, who's a huge grinder. And if you watch his fights, he does huge suplexes, probably 5-6 of them per fight. Just gets you way up and dumped. And I feel like he dumped one of his opponents on his head and almost knocked him out that way. Thiago Tavares, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that's who it was.
Just gets you up so high and then just slams you down. I mean, that's his sambo, too. It's hip tosses, and it's like the Russian judo. Just somebody interesting to watch. So he's somebody that I think is going to be fun to watch in 14, and that will, with 21-0, I mean, that's marketable all day. They're giving him big fights. His next one I've got to think is going to be somebody in the top 10 in his division or very close. So another fighter to watch. And then I have honorable mention Conor McGregor.
Yes.
Just because he's Irish. And I grew my beard out especially to give him honorable mention. No, I grew it out because it's been negative 500 degrees here in the Midwest, and it's been my security blanket. No, but Conor McGregor, 2-0 in 2013. He's out right now rehabbing his knee, but he was a fun guy to watch this year. Lots of kicks and combos and just explosive, and somebody also, again, easily marketable. You know, I don't know, they've done a couple UFCs in Ireland. I feel like they've done 2 in Dublin. Perfect got a main card, a Dublin card this year if he gets better. So those are my picks: Brandon Thatch, Abel Trujillo, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Conor McGregor. You've got Robbie Lawler to look out for. And your last one was Uriah Faber. So keep your eye out for all of those guys this year. Big year 2014, man. I like it. I like what's we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Always, man. Always. And it's so funny, when we first started doing the show, I think one of the things that we were both sort of concerned about was what we were going to talk about week in, week out, and there's always something. Like, there's never a time where I felt like, oh, well, we're kind of thin this show, but no. I mean, we went over this time too, man. We were so excited for 14. So, yeah, I think we got some good stuff coming up, man. On our next show, we've got UFC Fight Night. We're going to talk about a little bit coming up, 35, I believe it is, this Wednesday the 15th. Luke Rockhold versus Costa Philippou. They fight on the main event. Also it's on Fox Sports 1. And Lorenz Larkin, T.J. Dillashaw from Team Alpha Male, John Moraga, who had his fight versus Demetrius Johnson back in the summer, Cole Miller, and another guy that almost made it to my list of prospects, Yoel Romero. I like him.
Yeah, he's one of those that you got to look out for too. Just real compact little just beast. So they're going to fight this 15th Wednesday night. And so we're going to talk about that the next show. We're also going to preview UFC Fox Saturday, January 25th, the card that we're going to. Henderson versus Josh Thompson live in Chicago, Illinois. So we're going to get all the ins and outs of who's fighting, who we're going to look out for.
Yes,
our
we'll
picks.
be there in the flesh.
Yes. So we're going to get you guys excited for that because we are very excited for that as well.
I need it.
So that's it. That does our first episode of the year 2014
Yes,
in
sir.
the books now. Go to www.kickandmakeup.com and make sure you check out all of our past stuff. Get yourself on the Facebook group page. Message us on Twitter. Let us know what you thought of it. At Kick and Makeup is Jeremy's. At Hybrid MMA is mine. Done.
That's it.
Remember, don't solve it in the streets. Take it to the cage and kick and make up.